For today's cup of coffee, we have a really interesting topic, which is alien implants.
Hell yeah.
And
accompanied by our lovely X-Files poster.
Yeah, it's the Smoking Man. Yeah.
I'm tired, so that's why I saw.
But it's like that. That is the most appropriate phrase right now that anybody could be reminded of. But this is from the MUFON website, and that is the Mutual UFO Network. And this is from 1998, but it's still very pertinent. And this is alien implant removals before and after effects. And I am going to read this pretty much verbatim because it's not flowery.
Okay.
It's incident report. I appreciate that.
I will stay silent so you can read it.
And it didn't give me a byline as far as who had written this up, but whoever did so was really good. And I will give you the links to MUFON in the description box. And you can go and check out their site. They've got like a membership fee, which I could not afford at this time. You get exclusive things. So this one is just free to the general public, which includes me.
Yeah.
So I do sign up for their emails and stuff like that. But as far as being able to do more than that at this point, no,
that's it.
It'd be all right. So it says, several years after the surgical removal of their alleged alien implants, 5 individuals courageously accepted to take part in an interview to discuss their before and after effects. All persons, 1 male and 4 females, shared one thing in common: UFO encounters and contact with non-human alien beings. Dr. Roger Leir, a podiatrist from Thousand Oaks, California, founder of FIRST, which was the Fund for Interactive Research and Space Technology, and Daryl Sims, who was a CHTRAA, a certified hypnotherapist, co-founder of FIRST, and experienced UFO investigator for over 27 years, orchestrated the successful surgeries with a team of competent medical professionals and volunteers. The first set of implant surgeries took place on August the 19th, 1995 at Dr. Roger Leir's Podiatry Clinic in Thousand Oaks, California.
Yeah.
Now, one of the first things that people are going to say is he was a podiatrist, not a surgeon. Not necessarily, because podiatrists can do surgery.
Yeah.
And
albeit on feet.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's like tissue is tissue pretty much.
Yeah.
That's just like, as far as there was he was an ophthalmologist, and that he would do minor, like facial surgery if you had moles or something like that he could do those.
Cool.
I mean, it was not a big whoop.
Yeah, so...
rather than paying thousands and thousands of dollars, doctors used to be versatile as opposed to today.
Yep.
Anyhow, Pat Perinello, a 47-year-old man from Houston, Texas, and Mary Jones, which is not her real name, 52, also from Texas, had the anomalous objects appear in X-rays, although both UFO experiencers had no record of previous surgeries. Both individuals were investigated by Daryl Sims of MUFON, which is the chief investigator for Houston UFO Network, and referred to Dr. Roger Leir for surgery based on their past UFO encounters and X-rays which confirmed the anomalous objects. Pat's object was removed from the back of his left hand, and Mary's objects excised from her left big toe. All services were performed free of charge. The alleged implants removed from the first set of surgeries were studied by 2 different pathologists and then sent to various independent laboratories for extensive scientific analysis. The tests performed on these alleged alien implants were pathology/tissue evaluation, laser-induced breakdown spectroscopy, an LIBS, extensive metallurgical testing involving a density immersion test, X-ray energy dispersive spectroscopy, scanning electron microscopy,
Okay.
Yeah, X-ray.
There's a lot of words.
They did X-ray diffraction pattern analysis, electron/magnetic and fluorescent property analysis. Isotopic range tests are also in progress. Tests were conducted by the National Institute of Discovery of Science, New Mexico Tech, and other independent sources. So they were trying to very much be thorough with this.
Uh-huh.
I mean, these people were taking this seriously. This was not just some, lark at all.
Right.
And they said, but that is not all. While these unusual objects were being evaluated for scientific study, another set of implant surgeries took place on May 18th, 1996. 2 women from this second set of surgeries came forward for this interview and follow-up study. Dorothy O'Hara, a 61-year-old female from Palm Springs, California, and Alice Levy, 40, from Newberry Park, California, each had similar objects removed from their left lower leg. Another woman, Lycia Davidson, 37, who has had numerous UFO and alien encounters, had a rare crystalline-like object removed from her foot in January of 1997. Okay. And I actually had heard about these things years ago as far as the implants and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And
I think everybody in the UFO community has heard of
implants. Yeah, and they had, as far as one of them that was in a little test tube and that they would show to people. And, Dr. Leir reported that the findings of these implant surgeries were highly unusual. In all cases, there was virtually no inflammatory response. And this is not the usual finding in foreign tissue reactions. Normally, foreign bodies embedded in tissues result in some type of acute or chronic inflammatory response and may include fibrous and cyst formation. Such was not the case here. The pathology reports that the first 2 surgeries revealed that the metallic objects were encased in a very dense, tough gray membrane consisting of blood protein and skin cells that are usually found in the superficial layer of the skin. The tough biological cocoons encased the implants were also found to contain nerve and pressure cells of the wrong tissue type for that part of the body. These implant cocoons also fluoresced a bright green color in the presence of an ultraviolet light source.
What?
So that's pretty,
That's odd.
That is odd. The implants from the 2 women from the second set of surgeries did not exhibit metallic properties like the implants from the first set of surgeries. In fact, the spheroid, why didn't I just say round, whitish objects did not contain the tough biological outer jackets or fluoresce from a UV light source. These types of implants, possibly biological, also lack the expected inflammatory response according to the pathology reports. The crystalline-like object excised from the foot in the most recent surgery also lacked the tough gray outer membrane and had virtually no inflammatory response as in the other implant surgeries.
Okay.
Test results from the first set of implants revealed that the lamellar needle-shaped metallic objects in question are basically meteoric in origin, containing at least 11 different elements.
That's odd. Okay.
Yeah. In an interview with Alien Encounters magazine, that was the July 1997 issue in the United Kingdom, Daryl Sims commented on the uncommon, non-rejecting human response to the implants. It seems that the dense fibrous membrane may have been the person's own surface skin. If this is the case, it appears that the metallic objects are wrapped in a sheath of surface skin. Nerve fibers then surround the tissue and appear to be attached to larger nerves. The fact that both persons from the first set of surgeries objected verbally and physically could be an indication of this nervous system condition. Now, I'm not exactly sure what he was talking about as far as objected.
Yeah.
Unless it was a matter of while they were trying to remove them, they yelped.
Probably. That's probably what it was.
That's what.
Who wouldn't yelp if you're getting something pulled from you?
Well, it depends on,
I yelped when I got the ingrown toenails.
Right. Well,
out.
I don't know. It didn't say as far as how deep these implants were. If they were, I don't know whether they were muscular or they were subcutaneous. I mean, they were under the skin, but to what level? I don't know what
subcutaneous means.
Below the skin.
Okay.
You've got...
That's medical terms. You went to medical school, and I don't know.
Well, it's a matter... You went to cosmetology. They taught you about different skin parts. You've got the epidermis, and then you got the dermis, and then you got the, subcutaneous and all that stuff.
Yeah, but we didn't usually get to the subcutaneous part.
Well, it's just lower levels, so I don't know exactly how deeply they had to cut, if they used any kind of numbing agent. I mean, surely to God they would have.
Yeah, Novocaine or something.
Yeah, something like that, I'm sure. So, but it makes me just, I question the way that was written on that. Mr. Sims believes that the indications are very strong that these implants are extraterrestrial in origin. But Mr. Sims concedes, whatever the scientists say who have examined the objects say is what we will say. Daryl Sims has stated that a scientific peer review of all tests must be done before more specifics can be released. This is the standard course of action taken in any scientific endeavor. Now, knowing what we know, now this knowledge is not new.
Yeah.
Would we trust jack shit pretty much from the scientific community?
No.
No. Because we know that they were the ones that's been covering up a lot of this stuff.
A lot of stuff they've covered up,
and the things that have been found out and released, what do? They cover it up. They gaslight it. It's like, oh, well, this is da-da-da. I can't tell you how many things, even when I was going through there researching this, and it's propaganda. It's like, oh, don't look over here. Look over here.
Look over here.
It's sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Scientific evolution is our best ally, but the experiences and opinions of the courageous individuals involved in these implant surgeries are equally important. Series of simple questions were posed to each of the participants. When asked as to how and when their implants might have been inserted, Pat Perillo from Houston, Texas, believed that his plant could have been inserted during a UFO encounter he had in 1954 at 6 years of age. Mary Jones recalls 2 UFO encounters when her metallic objects could have been implanted in 1969. Mary commented, in the first frightening UFO encounter, I was on a camping trip with my family while pregnant with my 3rd child. Oddly enough, 1 month after Mary's child was born, she had another alien encounter while at home during the night. Conversely, Dorothea O'Hara from Palm Springs, California, and Lycia Davidson from California also both replied, I have no idea when the object was inserted. Alice Levy commented that she first noticed the lump on her leg following a UFO encounter involving other witnesses in San Diego in 1993. Alice clarified, I actually noticed the lump when I discovered the scoop mark also on my left leg after the UFO encounter. Now, for the lady that was pregnant, can you imagine how horrifying that must have been?
I bet that was terrifying.
I mean, it would be bad enough to have an abduction, incident anyhow, but to do that while pregnant?
Yeah.
So... Yeah. If the alien abductors are responsible for implanting objects in the bodies of their abductees, then are the aliens cognizant of the fact that the implants have been removed? So the next question was posed. Did you experience any UFO sightings, alien abductions, odd dreams, missing time, or paranormal events just prior to or after the implant surgery, such as within a month? And that was Pat Perillo, whatever his name is. Pat replied, yes, an unusual set of events took place with another witness involving an orange glowing UFO one evening about a week before the surgery. After the surgery, I noticed that my psychic ability seemed to decrease. Dorothy replied, about a week before the surgery, I had a dreamlike abduction experience involving many other people in a large locker room type facility, waiting in line for what seemed to be a shot in the backs of our necks. Also, right before an appointment to meet one of Daryl Sims' associates for an interview regarding the implant surgery, I and another woman had a strange experience. It was like getting stuck in a time warp. I ended up being very late for the appointment. And then late one evening, after I returned from the surgery, I had an alien encounter that I couldn't clearly recall. Both Lycia and Alice did not recall any unusual event soon after or before the implant surgery. Mary experienced a rare pain and swelling in her toe and foot about a week before the surgery. Mary revealed at that time, I knew exactly where the objects were in my foot. I could feel them. Prior to that, Mary had no pain or sensations of that kind in her toe. Mary admitted what was really strange was that the moment I stepped out of the car to meet Daryl Sims, just prior to the surgery, the pain stopped.
Huh.
The real question one may wonder about is, now that the implants have been removed, will the aliens continue to come back and abduct the abductees? All individuals except Mary Jones were able to answer with a resounding yes. Alice elaborated on an abduction she had 2 months after the implant surgery. She stated, I retired to bed early due to a headache. My husband awoke at 1 a.m. because the whole bedroom lit up like daylight. He looked at the clock, reached over to touch me, and found that I was gone. Paradoxically, my husband quickly went back to sleep. The next day, I felt very ill. I don't recall anything during the night, but I noticed the next day that my dog had nervously clawed several areas in the house as if he were trying to escape something frightening. And it's not uncommon for spouses to sleep through abduction, scenarios.
Uh-huh.
So,
because it's not all the time. It's not this dramatic thing that happens, I guess.
No, I mean, I don't know if they float them out or if it's some kind of
teleportation.
Well, seriously, it could be teleportation. It could
Beam
be
me up, Scotty.
One of those that there's some kind of a sedation of the spouses. So the fact that he woke up and then went back to sleep, that's not that uncommon.
Oh.
So there's a lot of abduction stories that deal with that type thing.
One, as a kid who allegedly had, alien encounters when I was little.
Yeah.
When he's little,
It's freaky.
I don't remember anything of that shit. Especially apparently Dad saw a UFO when I was with him at the airport
they would
or whatever.
Follow you there for a while when he was with you.
I didn't see them at all.
Well, no. But, like I said, I can see a little you looking out the window, at night going, I miss my alien friends. And dead serious. I mean, you were too young to... there was no snark there. And it was just like, what?
Well, if they have left me alone, where the fuck... Why? Why the fuck have they left me alone
I don't
at this
know.
point? Do I have, some sort of implant in me or something?
I don't know. I don't like to think about it. I
do.
I have enough things to think about. Anyhow.
They'll come back for me one day. You just watch.
Well, I hope I'm down someplace else when that happens. As to changes in health, mood, dreams, or psychic phenomenon after the surgery, all 5 agreed as to some type of change. Mary Jones simply stated that she felt a sense of peace after her objects were removed. Dorothy commented, I felt a tremendous sense of relief after the surgery. Lycia remarked, yes, I had a dramatic and immediate mood lift after the object was removed from my foot. I also stopped having pain and the weird watery sensation surrounding my foot. The most striking changes were noted by Dorothy. I had a severe diuretic effect and lost much water weight a week following the surgery. Then my health progressively worsened and I developed angina and edema. This heart problem was a recurring complication from a previous illness I had had in my late 20s. I also experienced extreme fatigue and could not concentrate. The illness lasted about a month, after which my energy and health returned with more vigor. My creativity and mental clarity improved remarkably. She was a writer. And she says that she had a startling improvement in her memory where she was able to recall a previous alien abduction experience from 1991. In other words, it was the first time that she had been able to pierce through the screen memory from an abduction. Although it took her 3 days to process the memory, it was difficult mentally and emotionally. In hindsight, after the implant surgery and recovery from illness, she said she felt detoxified. Pat, on the other hand, noticed a more subjective change and simply stated, yes, a part of me which remains hidden has undergone quite a few changes of paradigms. So she just was not willing to share. And I
don't blame her.
Well, who knows what these people had done to them?
Yeah.
And that's not somebody you just tell random strangers. Alice and Dorothy shared a It's weird because Alice and Dorothy had a lot of stuff going on that were similar. Yeah. They shared a common symptom several months after their surgeries. Alice remarked, about 8 months afterwards, I had shooting pains in my left leg and noticed the implant scar turned bright red and hurt and lasted for about a week. Also, around the same time period, I had a strong precognitive vision that later came true in exact detail. Dorothy added, yes, I also noticed a strange reaction in my leg and implant scar about 6 months after the surgery. I felt shooting pains in my left leg, especially at the implant site. The incision scar turned bright red for about a month. So on most of this, they have had it must have been the same group of aliens that abducted these ladies, because very similar responses to all this stuff.
Yeah, very similar.
Could these changes in each of the individuals interviewed alter their views of UFO phenomenon? And after the fact, Pat admitted he was basically in denial about the UFO abduction phenomenon previous to the surgery. Pat stated, and yet it seems like the more one becomes aware of the fact, the more I realize that I don't know anything. But I do sense that something is accelerating.
What is that something?
Well, if you read Art Bell's The Quickening, you would know. Dorothy concurred with Pat in that she formerly believed the UFO phenomenon was all nonsense. Afterwards, Dorothy realized, quote, I have been able to work through many issues in my life now that I am no longer in denial. Now I have a more practical and spiritual approach to life and am more concerned with helping others in a practical sense, not promoting some new age or metaphysical philosophy, end quote. Mary also admitted she had no interest or knowledge of the UFO abduction phenomenon previously. Mary added, even now I have no real interest in the UFO topic, yet cannot deny there is something to it, end quote. Both Lycia and Alice had a good knowledge and belief in the UFO abduction field. Lycia stated that her views had not really changed. She stated, the best way that I can describe it is that I have had a real powerful extreme source of the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, end quote. And I'm like, what? What the hell does that even mean? Well, she's from California. Alice admitted, previously I felt the aliens were possibly evil. Now, after the surgery and as life and my abductions continue, I think the aliens just have a job to do. It's not a good job. I think they are just following orders. And I was like, oh,
damn.
Shit. Of all the things that she could have said on that.
Yeah, as the cat hoiks in protest.
We had to pause just for a moment and take care of Cat, because we didn't think that you would enjoy listening to him cough during the rest of it.
Yeah, he got choked up.
So anyhow, it is the UFO community at large telling the whole truth about what really happens to abductees.
Is it the whole truth or is it that?
Pat says truth is subjective. I know there are a few researchers who are holding to the narrative on finding out what is going on. Alice agreed that for the most part, the abduction researchers are reporting things as they are experienced, but for one small exception. Some top researchers are not mentioning the apparent military involvement.
Oh, shit.
Lycia concurred with Alice. Top researchers are touching on the major issues, but in my opinion, do not want to get involved in the government end of it. Dorothy forthrightly stated, quote, many people in the UFO community have their head in the clouds and believe in an overly benevolent, fanciful, spiritual philosophy. There is not enough critical analysis. I have learned more from one-on-one conversations with other abductees than from the public lecture circuit, end quote. Yep. As to the U.S. government concerning covering up UFO facts from the general public, all individuals agreed. Alice concluded, yes, especially the Roswell, New Mexico UFO incident in 1947. Most of the implantees described noteworthy mental, psychic, or health-related changes following their implant surgeries. 4 of them reported a continuation of some type of alien abduction activity. The 2 women who had the biological type implants removed experienced strikingly similar post-surgical changes involving shooting pains and reddening of the incision scar for a short period of time. The important thing to consider here is the whole picture. Over-reliance on the physical test results of the implants alone are not substantial enough to solve the implant mystery, let alone the question of alien presence. If not, then what is? The lives and experiences of the abductees themselves tell us what we need to stop and listen. The answer lies somewhere in between science and the hearts of the people. So, because for everyone who has an experience, you've got someone that's calling them a liar or crazy or whatever.
Absolutely.
And something I thought was very odd, and this was from March 4th, 2014. Dr. Roger Leir, while preparing to go into surgery on his foot, excused himself to visit the men's men's room and never came out.
Oh my God. So he just wasn't in there.
He died.
He died.
He died.
In there.
And it says that he had suffered a severe car accident in July of 2010, which included the car rolling. And he was returning home from the International MUFON Symposium in Irvine, California.
Damn.
And it said that he injured his foot and his stomach and was hospitalized for some time, after the accident. But he still kept having issues with his foot.
Right.
Now, remember, this man was a podiatrist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he goes to the bathroom and never comes out.
Fuck.
So
That's spooky. That sounds suspicious.
Yeah, really. And
that's suspicious.
I thought it was.
That's weird.
And that was the source and reference on that was given to Christopher O'Brien, and this was under a UFO Casebook. And that's that. I don't believe in coincidence.
I don't believe in coincidence either. Well, to an extent, I do.
Well, and that's just like over the past, I want to say 5 years or so, doesn't have anything to do with UFOs, but kind of sort of on some ways, that there were these naturopathic doctors that were being killed, like several of them. And I at the time, didn't understand, but can I understand now? Yeah, I can.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, alien implants.
Do you or do you not believe in that? Have you or have you not had experience with that?
Oh, I very much believe that things are implanted in people. Have for a long time.
But that's mostly just a question to the general audience.
Well,
here.
I know that.
Well,
but
what do you believe in? Obviously, you said that you believe in alien implants and stuff like that.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of stuff that... And I will tell you, I don't know how X-Files got away with as much as they did.
Soft disclosure?
I think that it was soft disclosure, and sometimes it wasn't so soft. I mean, there were things there, and even the last set, which we need to get those, Chris Carter approached subjects that at the time I'm like, damn, how are they not offing him?
Right. Because he could be part of the, elite or somehow.
Well, I don't know.
Could be recruited.
But there were a lot of topics that they approached, and that's just like as far as I was researching kind of sort of as far as different frequencies. And sometimes it's really hard to find information on some of these topics. I know it's there. I know it's there somewhere, but it's a matter of how diligent that you want to be.
They make it difficult.
And there is something that I want to look further into tomorrow that is called silent sound.
Silent sound.
Yes. It's these ultra low frequencies that are, they're not detectable to the human ear, but they can kill.
Well, there's high frequencies too that can do that.
Absolutely. So, I mean, but there's been both things to that, and there was a correlation with an event that happened a few days back that I was not aware of until somebody that they had mentioned the same thing was this, and I'm like, oh, it very well could have been
Travis Scott concert thing.
You cannot. You just blurt everything, don't you? You just blurt everything.
I didn't know that. Literally, I was just like,
well, I don't want to go when you are winding up one video and you have a subject for another video.
Well, it can lead into the other video, but
I don't know when I'm going to get around to that one.
Still, it's fine.
Okay.
But still, what happened to the people
this is
tragic.
The child that if I found him snooping for Christmas presents, I'm like, if you find it, good, I'll take it back to the store. And would have.
Yeah, she would have.
Mm-hmm. Because I don't allow no snooping. So anyhow, but that correlation, it depends on whatever rabbit hole seems to, it's like triage. Which one was supposed to do today? And I just let spirit guide on all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So, anyhow, if you've had paranormal, supernatural encounters, experiences with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, and we joke, during these things, but we very much believe in giving people a platform to share their experiences.
Think of this like another art bill type of thing.
Well, and it's, I mean, we're not going to laugh at you.
Genuinely believe.
Oh, Art did too. Oh. He really did. But we're not going to shame anybody. We're not going to embarrass anybody.
We're not intentionally making a spectacle of people.
Right. I mean, when we've had people share their stories and stuff, and we do that with a lot of respect. Mm-hmm. So that's the reason we put the email address out there. And if it's something that you don't want mentioned in a video, that's okay too. If you just need to tell someone. Because sometimes when you've experienced something and you just talk about it with somebody, even if it's through text or email, that can relieve a lot of the, if you want to call it pressure, as far as it spiritually, mentally, that thing. Secrets keep us sick.
Absolutely they do.
So that's, I've been tongue-tied and twisted all day. It's planetary alignments. But that's the reason that we want you all to know that you have the option of letting someone else know.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't feel comfortable sharing with us, that's perfectly fine too.
That's okay too. Just the email is cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. And know that you're loved, because that's a genuine thing too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I will ask people to be in prayer for our buddy Joe, because he's having some medical issues right now, and God love him.
Joe, if you're listening to this,
we love you.
We love you, and we honestly truly do hope that you get better.
Well, yeah.
Because you're important to us.
Absolutely, he's important to us. Mm-hmm. He's very important to us, and to a lot of other people.
Please get better.
Yeah.
Please.
Be in definite prayer for you. Thank you for spending part of your day with us and having a cup of coffee with us. Mm-hmm. And we'll see you all on the next cup. Bye.
Don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe. Subscribe.